The last decade has seen an overwhelming evolution of the software testing industry, giving way to greener pastures. Now, it is important to ensure effective performance of software application, and software testing is required to ensure that the application runs without any failures. So, JMeter is one of the most preferred tools for performance testing. Hi everyone, this is Shantini from Edureka and welcome to today's session about the JMeter plugins. Now we have already seen about how to install JMeter and how it actually works. So today we will get into the depth of JMeter and have a look at the different JMeter plugins. Now before we start the session today, let's have a look at the agenda. So first we will have a brief introduction to JMeter and then we will have a look at what are plugins. And then I'll show you how to install the plugin manager in JMeter. Then we will discuss about the top 10 JMeter plugins and also I'll show you on how to install and uninstall the plugins manually. So let's get started. Now what is JMeter? So the Apache JMeter is a testing tool used for analyzing and measuring the performance of different software services and products. It is also a pure Java open source software that is used for testing web applications or the FTP applications. Now it is also used to execute the performance testing, load testing and functional testing of web applications. We have discussed about Apache JMeter in details in our JMeter tutorial and also we have shown in our load testing using JMeter on how to perform the performance testing in the non-GUI mode. So you can go back and have a look at those videos for a detailed understanding of this particular tool. Now moving on, what are plugins actually? Now Apache JMeter is a powerful tool for load testing. So by default, the JMeter has many features, but one of the best things about JMeter is that it is open source software. So any interested party can develop additions that will extend its capabilities and insert functions. Now these additions are called as plugins. So developers have already created a large variety of useful plugins, which is really cool and shows the strength of our JMeter community. So this was all about what is JMeter and what are the plugins. Now let's move on and have a look at how to install the JMeter with plugins. So in our previous video on how to install JMeter, I have shown you how you can install this particular tool. So you can go back and have a look at the step-by-step guide on how to install JMeter if you still have confusion about that. So I have already installed Apache JMeter in my system and this is how the user interface of Apache JMeter looks like. So this is where we create our test plan and perform the testing on any website or any server that we want to. So now let's have a look how to get the plugins in JMeter. So now in order to get your plugins, you need a plugins manager. Now to download a plugins manager, all you have to do is go to Google and just type download plugins manager. Now from here you go to the first website from where you can get your JMeter plugins. So you can see that this is the website from where you can get your JMeter plugins manager. Now here you will get a brief description about what are the JMeter plugins manager and how do they perform. Now for installing the JMeter plugins manager, all you need to do is just install the jar file from here. So you just have to download the plugins manager jar file from here. I have already installed this in my system. Now here the steps are also written. So first you have to download the plugins manager and put it inside your JMeter directory. Now once the download is complete, all you have to do is go to your Apache JMeter folder and go inside the lib folder. Here you have this ext folder and inside this you have to copy the JMeter plugins manager jar file. So I had already downloaded the jar file and I have also copied it inside this particular folder. So now you can see that the jar file is here inside my Apache JMeter libext folder. Now once this is completed, all you have to do is restart your Apache JMeter. So let me just close this and go back to my Apache JMeter bin folder and run the batch file. So here I'll just restart my Apache JMeter window. Now once I'm inside my Apache JMeter, go to Options and when you right click Options, you will see Plugins Manager here. So now your Plugins Manager is successfully installed for your Apache JMeter. Now when you click this Plugins Manager, you will get to see all the installed plugins, the available plugins and also if there are any upgrades available for any already installed plugins. So here you can see that there are no upgrades, all the installed plugins are already updated. Now here you can see the list of all your installed plugins. And also if you need any other plugin that is available but is not installed in your system already, you can go to the available plugins and you just have to select this particular plugin, and then here you get an option of apply changes and restart JMeter. So once you click on this, you will get this particular plugin as well. Now this particular plugins manager can perform three tasks. That is, it can install new plugins from the available plugins, then it can uninstall the old plugins from the list of the uninstalled plugins, and third, if there are any updates available, it can upgrade your existing plugins. So you can see that these three options are available here. So in order to uninstall any particular plugin, you just have to check on that particular plugin, and here you get the options on whatever you can do, that is install the library JMeter plugins or install the plugin. Now in order to uninstall any of these existing plugins, you can just uncheck this one and apply changes and restart your JMeter. Now this was the step to uninstall. Now in order to install any particular new plugin, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is go inside your available plugins list. Now here you'll find a number of plugins that are not there in your system already, but these are available. So all you have to do is check on that particular plugin, select that plugin and just apply the changes and restart your JMeter. So it'll automatically get installed and will be in your installed plugins list now. Now the third task is upgradation. So if there are any particular updates available, it will show here. Right now there are no updates available for any installed plugin, so there are no upgrades that you can see. But if any particular installed plugin had any update available, it would be shown here, and all you have to do is just click on that particular plugin or select that particular plugin and apply changes and restart your JMeter. So automatically that particular plugin will be updated. So this was an easy step on how you can install your plugins manager and how it shows all the available install, uninstall and the upgradation of all your plugins that you would need for your JMeter test plan. So this was a quick step on how you can get your plugins manager in your JMeter. Now let's move on and have a look at some of the most commonly used JMeter plugins. So we will talk about some top 10 JMeter plugins, how they are used inside your test plan in JMeter. Now the most popular plugin is the plugin manager, and for good reason. Usually a user needs to install the plugin manager before installing other plugins. So the plugins manager is the most convenient way to manage the JMeter plugins. Now the plugin manager has three main tabs. That is the installed plugins, the available plugins and the upgrades. Now the installed plugins tab contains a list of all the installed plugins, a description area on the left and a review changes area at the bottom. So here you can find the review changes of your plugins manager. Now the available plugins tab contains a list of your available plugins. Also you can use the search bar to find all the plugins to fit your needs. Now the next plugin that we'll talk about is the perfmon. So basically this is the perfmon server's performance monitoring. Now this plugin extends the JMeter with the perfmon server's performance monitoring listener. This listener allows us to monitor CPU, memory, swap, disks I/O and networks I/O of the servers loaded. So the plugin can be installed via the plugin manager as perfmon or as a part of the JPGC standard set plugin. So here we will select our perfmon plugin and apply changes and restart our JMeter. So you can see that this particular plugin is getting downloaded, and now we are just restarting our Apache JMeter again. So now let's see how you can find this particular plugin. So now in order to add this plugin, all you have to do is right click on your test plan, go to the add options and then go to listeners, and inside listeners you will get to see the JPAGC perfmon metrics collector. And this is how you get to use this particular plugin inside your test plan. Now moving on, the third one is the custom thread groups. So the custom thread groups plugin adds 5 thread group types. That is the stepping thread group, the ultimate thread group, concurrency thread group, arrivals and free-form arrivals thread group. Now these 5 thread groups open huge possibilities to create required schedules for test runs. So the plugin can be installed via the plugin manager as custom thread groups or as a part of the JPGC standard set plugin. So here you can see the 5 thread groups, that are the stepping thread group, the ultimate thread group, the concurrency arrivals and the free-from arrivals thread group. Now let's see how you can find this particular plugin and how to use it. So the same thing, we go back to our test plan. When we click on add and threads, and inside thread you can see the stepping thread group plugin. Now the same way you can also get your ultimate thread group, your arrivals thread group, your free-form arrivals thread group, and all of these are present here and you can use them in your test plan whenever you need them. Now moving on, the fourth plugin is the dummy sampler. Now the dummy sampler emulates the work of requests and responses without actually running the requests. Now request and response data are defined in the samplers field. Now this is a very convenient way to debug post processors and extractors. So the plugin can be installed via the plugin manager as the dummy sampler. Now again, let's go back and see how you can find this plugin in your JMeter. Now let's see how you can find this dummy sampler. So you have to right click on your test plan, go to add and add the thread group here. Now once the thread group is created, inside your thread group you have this add and sampler option. Now inside your sampler option you can find your dummy sampler and then you can request your data here, and this is exactly how you use your dummy sampler plugin in your Apache JMeter test plan. Now the fifth one is our throughput shaping timer. Now this plugin adds the following functionalities to JMeter. So it adds the throughput shaping timer, the special property processing, and schedule feedback function. Now these elements enable us to limit the test throughput to ensure that we don't exceed our required throughput value. Now this plugin can be installed via the plugin manager as throughput shaping timer. So now let's see how we can add this throughput shaping timer plugin in our JMeter. So we have to go into our test plan. So add the thread group here. And now inside our thread group, when we right click, we have add, and inside add we have an option as timer. Now inside timer you can see the throughput shaping timer plugin which is already installed in our Apache JMeter. So now you can use this for any of your test plans. Now moving on, the sixth plugin that we'll talk about is the custom JMeter functions. So the custom JMeter functions plugin extends the JMeter's functionality with a number of useful functions. So for the custom JMeter functions, we have the choose random, the double sum, env, MD5, substring, string replace, and quite a few more. So you can use all these functions inside any of your test plan. Now moving on, the next plugin is the flexible file writer. Now this plugin basically extends the JMeter with the flexible file writer listener. This listener is designed to write the test results into the file in a flexible format which we can specify via the JMeter GUI. Now to find this particular plugin, you just have to go to your test plan and add a listener, and then inside your listener you will get your flexible file writer. Now next up is the inter-thread communication plugin. So installing the inter-thread communication plugin extends the JMeter functionality with an inter-thread communication post-processor, inter-thread communication pre-processor, and a number of functions. So the inter-thread communication means that we can put a string value into a queue from one thread group and then get that value in another thread group. So this feature basically lets us synchronize separate thread groups. And you can find this particular plugin inside your test plan, add, and post processors. So inside post processors, you will get your inter-thread communication post processor as well as the pre-processor. Now the next one is the JSON plugins. So installing the JSON plugins provides us with one more sampler and two post processors. So we have the JSON to XML converter sampler, the JSON format post processor, and the JSON path extractor. Now, these elements are a set of tools that enable us to work comfortably with data in the JSON format. So, if you want to transform your JSON text into the XML format, you can go to your thread group and add sampler and select the JSON to XML converter. Same way, if you want to format the JSON responses and make them more readable, you can go for the JSON format post processor. Now moving on, the final plugin is the 3 basic graphs. So the 3 basic graph plugin extends JMeter with 3 particular listeners, that is the active threads over time, the response time over time, and the transactions per second. So these listeners provide you with information and KPIs about your load testing results in a graphic form, enabling you to analyze the success of your performance tests and making it easier to decide on future steps for your website or app. So here the response times over listener shows a graph of the average response time in milliseconds for each sampler during a test run. So these were some of the most commonly used plugins in JMeter. So this was all about today's session. I hope you understood how JMeter plugins actually work and how you can create your test plans using these plugins. So to know more about JMeter in details, you can check out our JMeter tutorial and also how to perform load testing using JMeter. You can also check out the video on how to install JMeter if you have any doubts in installing this particular tool. And also do share your opinion in the comment section below. Till then, thank you and happy learning.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!